this. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Good morning vlogsters. Look, Jimmy's cup. It is about 7:30. Coffee's about 2.5 hours old. It's delicious as always and warm as always. I put my brush away. I wanted to vlog this morning. I know I vlogged last night. I have to talk to my doctor because I don't know if this is normal. Like, I thought he said it would go down, but I kind of like can feel what's happening in here, and I don't think I'm supposed to feel that. It just feels like it's not giving when I straighten my head. Like, what position was my neck in when we did this? I know we probably don't want to have like slack when you do this, but you really do. You want to really pop the thing out when you do that. Good morning. If you have a port and you have a similar port, could you please tell me, is this normal? The black and bluing we expected. So I bruise very easily. So this is the black and bluing by the port area. Of course, you can see the discoloring here, but we expected that because I bruise like a peach. I actually was kind of comparing. So this was the IV from Friday was 2 weeks. What was the biopsy? Yeah, 2 weeks on the 1st. And this is the IV I got yesterday, which I'll be honest with you, it usually takes a couple days to develop because the sometimes the IV, the blood like takes a minute to come to the surface. And I say a minute, it's not really a minute. Oh, my rings, I forgot to get my jewelry back from my husband. Dang it. Oh, well, let me give you an update on what's going on. First of all, good morning. Yesterday was port placement. The team was amazing. Everything was fantastic. I am, like I said, concerned about this. When I first left, what he told me was I can go ahead and use the port right away and I could shower and everything. But then he told my sister not to get this part wet for 24 hours. So, well, we have some confusion there. I do have some aftercare paperwork, so, you know, we referred to that. And yeah, don't get this wet for 24 hours. So I'm glad we got that straight. So he did say bruising would be normal, and he said this would go down eventually, but it hasn't gone down at all. And it's tender. This, like when I touch this, it's tender. So I don't know if this is what's supposed to happen here. I'm not sure. I'm going to consult with my doctor friend later, but I think that they are busy today. So I also have I have a doctor's appointment with my primary tomorrow. So if I haven't had my concerns eased by then, I'm sure she will be able to help me out as well. Okay, today is the eye doctor. I see this eye doctor once a year. I'm supposed to see him once a year. Last year was the first year due to the diabetic retinopathy. Now, because of COVID and this, I didn't get to see him this year. Well, actually, it was really because of this, because July was the follow-up, and I was in the midst of all this pain and this situation. So I didn't get to kind of do my appointment then. So it's October, but hey, I'll take it. 3 months late is better than not at all. So I have my eye doctor appointment today. I'm sure he'll do the dilation, and hopefully he'll do the dilation and the test, because that's what we did last time. They have great machines at the eye center here in the Mercy Clinic here in Rolla, which is great. On par with, if not as good as, well, as good as, or if not better than the ones that they had up in Columbia. But I'm sure they're just as good. I feel really good. Like, my sister was concerned that yesterday was gonna wipe me out, but I think that a nap, even if it's under anesthesia, is a nap. I slept really well last night, considering, you know, the going to sleep sort of situation. I'll tell you that my shoulder is in more pain today than it has been in a really long time. However, I kind of feel like I'm doing that. I kind of feel like I'm compensating for what's going on in my neck. So I'm not surprised, and I'm not something to worry about. We're still what are we doing? Yes. We're still waiting on the radiation approval from the insurance. I did speak to a lady from the insurance company yesterday who did like a follow-up questionnaire. She wanted to just check with me and see about my medications and my services and how was I feeling about things, and that they were working on this and they didn't want us to think that we got left behind and all this thing. So I really did appreciate that immensely, excuse me. I do want to talk to my radiologist oncologist today because, or I might actually call over to Mercy, but I think I'm going to call today because I actually heard from my my oncologist's nurse practitioner that they have a really good orthopedic group in Washington, Missouri, which was, it'll save me about 20 minutes on the trip of going into Springfield. Plus they're not as, it's not as big as a city, but because it's like it's sort of like I don't want to say a satellite city of St. Louis, but it's like it's not really even a suburb. It's more like it is a satellite city of St. Louis. I don't know how to say it. It's closer to St. Louis, but it's like its actual own little like city. They have, not a huge city either, but they have enough of the amenities and stuff. So if you guys know, Washington's where I always go to the Target, the Dollar Spot. They have Michael's there. Like, that's where I go shopping. I don't know if you remember from like my other channel, like all those hauls that I always do in Washington, Missouri. But they have a really good orthopedic group at the Mercy there. Now, will they take my case? I don't know, but I would like to at least have them look, because there's more, like a variety of choices with the doctors there. Like, you know, maybe Dr. A and B wouldn't want to, but Dr. C and D would, like, kind of thing, because there's more of them. So, navigating. I will tell you, like, and I mentioned it yesterday. Last night in the vlog, the team there was just like, you're a delight and wonderful and you're so positive, and positivity is what's going to get you through this. And I was like, I will tell you, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you know, having cancer is the greatest thing ever. But I have a lot of really, I don't know, my kind of viewpoints on it. Here's the thing. The very first thing is that because I'm a child of Christ and because I believe in the God that I believe in that Judeo-Christian God of Abraham. Jesus Christ is my Savior. Do I live the Bible word for word? No. Because I was taught that it is a guide, per se, of how we should live and of lessons. However, I do, the whole sentiment is how I try to value my life. The fact that if I stepped off the curb tomorrow, I have a sudden brain aneurysm, or, I mean, God forbid all of these things, but, or if I die from cancer in a year, that is okay, because I do know where I will go. My soul will eternally rest in heaven with my family who have gone on before me. I will be very saddened for my family that is left behind, because I'm an amazing, bright, chipper person who wants to be in everybody's life. No, I'm just kidding. But obviously, I've lost people, so I know what it's like to lose people. So, that being said, that is the first thing that really gets me through all of this. Now, the fact that I'm in God's hands, He put skill in the doctor's hands. He put skill in the researcher's hands and the medication creator's hands and all of these things. Can we take capitalism out of medicine? We absolutely 100% should, but that's a conversation for another story altogether. I was on a live stream. I was watching a live stream of a TikToker who has kidney cancer, and they were just, one of the things was, her topic was about the cost of medications, and they are exorbitant. It does not take $22,000 to make one dose of medication. However, that's the that's the stockholders and the CEO. It doesn't just go for research. I mean, there's tons of research out there and videos out there about how they create medications, so you don't have to listen to me. Go find out for yourself. I promise. You'll see. That's all aside. All of that aside. I am very grateful that God has put the skill into these people's hands. Just like I can draw and create, and I have the skill to teach. I have the skill for language, even to talk. A lot of people love, just love to listen to me talk. the skill was placed into these people's hands to create things to help us heal our bodies. The therapies, the doctors, the medications. I am so grateful for it. I know that it's in his hands. His hands don't just hold my will and my life. There is also the doctor's hands that he created. That's what I'm trying to say. So how I can stay so positive about it, and I know it's cancer, so it's not like a laughing matter, right? Stand up to cancer, the laughing matter. But to be honest with you, I know that negativity is not going to get me anywhere. Now, I would like to address one thing, because I have a friend who's also very concerned about what negativity is, putting things out in the universe. For me to say that the average lifespan of somebody with this disease, it's not me putting negativity out there. It's not me saying, if they say 5 years and I expect 5 years, that's all I'm going to get. I'm just being realistic. I'm being realistic to the statistics. I'm being realistic to the facts that this is the case. Now, here's the thing. When you say an average life expectancy, some people live 20 years. That means some people die after a year. So let's just face facts. I was talking to Jim last night about everything, and he is struggling with everything, and that makes perfect sense. Makes me sad to think of Jim struggling with it. Sorry. I'm not sad for me. I do it every time, right? Sorry. Because the look in his eyes when we have to talk about it is so heartbreaking to me. So I'm done. I'm done crying. I'm done crying for Jim right now, right? Okay, stop. So I said, realistically, it's not just the cancer that can take me. It's the treatments. I could have a bad infusion one day. I could have an allergic reaction to something. So like I'm planning the next 30 years of my life with him. Honestly, I am. But I'm also trying to prepare him for what if these are the last ones. So the conversation we had last night, it was about decorating. This is kind of stupid, but for a lot of people, decorating for all the holidays is dumb. And that's fine. You don't have to decorate for all the holidays. You don't live in my house. But I said to him, I'm like, I know that it's not mom's thing. It's my thing. But I did say to him, when we were living in the other house and you used to really enjoy it. Like, not just bear with it or put up with it, but he enjoyed it. He actually said at one point that was one of the things he really loved. He's like, Christmas was always just important to my dad. Like, it was really big. My family was decorating for Christmas. He's like, but I never thought about decorating for all these holidays. And I would, I shared with him that my mom, even if they were just cardboard cutouts because we didn't have the money or the space, she would always decorate for like Valentine's Day and for spring, like whatever it was. Excuse me. So over the course of our marriage, we lived there for 14 years together. Actually, it was 13 years together because then the flood, but we lived in New York for 14 years. We lived in the house for 13 years together, and we decorated for every holiday. Now, as years got on, because from, I don't know, we met in 1999 until, today, the holiday decor options have expanded tremendously. And I've said this before to my sisters and stuff. I said, if my mom had the resources that we had today to decorate for all the holidays, there'd be no doubt in my mind that every holiday wouldn't look like Christmas, that every holiday wouldn't look like my house looks like on every holiday. Now, the work that goes into it, obviously, as you get older, the work is harder and harder, and I'm trying to make it easier and easier. That's why we did starting in 2019, we started to purge large amounts of our holiday decor so it would be easier. I just wanted to keep the pieces that I felt were the most eternal in style and that were the lightest, the smallest, that kind of thing, because, you know, eventually we said, if we have an RV life, what would we actually take with us? That kind of thing. So we did all of this planning in 2019. And of course, things just changed dramatically last year. Last year, it was just dramatic change for everybody. It wasn't just us. So one of the things I said to him, though, I said, you know, I know that living with my mother-in-law is a beautiful human being. However, she was raised, I feel like, and from one of the stories I've heard about her mom, she was raised to, I feel like, not want to be happy for, like, I don't know. I kind of almost feel like it was like a Midwestern Presbyterian WASP thing. Not saying that all of them are like this. I'm not saying Midwestern Presbyterian WASPs are like this. But I feel like her mom's philosophy on it. That's what I'm trying to say. Her mom's philosophy on being a Midwestern Presbyterian or Protestant. I'll even say Protestant because I think pretty sure she was Presbyterian her whole life, but a Midwestern like Protestant was that, like, and in those days, you know, in the 40s and 30s and 40s, was to not show joy, because joy was boastful almost to the point. If you understand what I'm saying, like, don't look like you're too happy because then they'll take it all away from you, or they'll think you're not grateful, and all of these like kinds of philosophies that they had back in the day. Different than the philosophies they had in New York, obviously. I feel like my grandma was like, you know, on the balls of her hiney and just made everybody appreciate everything they had. And when somebody was coming up in the world, they were never anything but like, you know, oh my gosh, look what so-and-so did for herself. Like, you know what I mean? So I just feel like the stories that I heard about her mom, I kind of like feel that way. And I feel like it's ingrained in her. It's ingrained in her to not show the joy, because for fear that it would be looking boastful or look like, you know, you can't have a good time. Plus, she was very self-conscious about her appearance, so as she still is. So like the whole laughing out loud thing, you know, when you're self-conscious of your appearance, you kind of sometimes shrink instead of grow. So, you know me, I don't care. I love me. I love me just the way I am. Falling out teeth, falling out hair, overweight, sagging skin. I don't care. I love all of it. It's me, and that's who I am. This is who God made me, with the help of Twinkies and Drake's Cakes. No, I'm kidding. With the help of genetics and, you know, and perseverance. And this is me, and I love me, and cancer and all. This is me. So I can understand in a way where it comes from. However, it is really hard to deal with sometimes. Now, I'm okay with it. I deal with all kinds of people my whole life, and I've learned to deal with people my whole life. However, Jim happens to be very empathetic, and I mean that because he is an empath and he can feel the vibe around him. And I think part of it too is that whole like trying to appease the person in the room, where it's like, what exactly do you want? Like, you want to think like you have to be like, well, I see her point, but no, what do you want? Even if it's different than my opinion, I want to know what you want. I'm not telling you have to have my opinion. I'm what you want. So I said to him last night, I was like, you know, when we lived in New York, you actually enjoyed this. And I will tell you something, because I actually addressed it with him last night. And this is what I said to him. I said, I would say it's possible that you are just doing that for me. Like, how I just said, how he tries to appease the person in the room. I said, but Jim, I could see the joy in your face. I could see the joy in your face, not only while you were decorating, but when it was done. And when you'd come home from work every day and you'd see like the lights lit up in the house and how fun it is to see like the Frankenstein and the candy corn lights around the windows or whatever it was. And I said, I could see the joy in your face when the trick-or-treaters would come to the door. And you would come back with the bowl of candy and you'd be like, oh, they were so cute as a vampire and a devil and a thing. Like you would just the joy. I could see it. So, but if you were doing that to appease me, you would let me know, right? He's like, yeah, he's like, it's just becoming a lot of work as I'm getting older. And I said, I understand. I do understand. Nobody understands more than me. My body's been breaking down like a crazy person's. So I understand 100%. So I said, we can work on this, but how about the actual act of doing it? Do you enjoy doing it? If it was less work, would you enjoy it? If I could make it easier on you, would you enjoy it? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm sure I would. I said, well, I'm not trying to this nitpick or whatever. I said, but the reason that I wanted to get the shed is so I could help you instead of you having to take it all on your own. Even with my limited energy, if I could access the stuff myself, I could spend one day bringing the boxes in. Take a rest. 2 days later, I pull out a box and I unpack it. 2 days later, I put it all up. 2 days later, like I could do it at my pace. And I could help you even. Like if you only had 50% of the burden and we had 50% of the stuff, that's 25% of the workload. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to like I'm trying to make it easier for you. And I just realized I don't have my earbuds in and I hope you can hear me. Because sometimes when it's early in the morning, I don't talk very loud and I apologize. See if you notice any difference. Let's see if we notice any difference, but so the whole point of this, getting it in the shed, we don't have that effort of having you climbing into the attic, lowering down boxes, lifting up heavy boxes. The same for me, lowering and lifting up heavy boxes. Let's like reconfigure the boxes. Why are they so heavy? What can go? What can stay? What can we donate? What gets out? Whatever it is, just go, you know? So I don't know what I'm saying, like the whole dynamics of it, like what do you want to do now? Now, I won't say that I'm going to concede entirely. And the reason I'm saying that is because that's not compromise. To concede your view entirely isn't a compromise. What I will say is if we could just do X, Y, and Z. So, like if we, instead of decorating the whole house, inside and out, let's put out the outside decorations and just decorate the mantle. Like we don't have to worry about the kitchen or the bathroom, the guest rooms, or whatever else. The dining room, we're not doing any of that anymore because we don't have a dining room. But I was like, let's just do, if we could just concede to like just doing the outside and then the fireplace. What I will do is I will take, except for Christmas, of course, obviously, but I will take all of the holiday decorations that we have and I will condense them down into each one having just one tote that will just decorate the fireplace. Or if you want to concede to just the living room, like kind of thing, we can do that. That's fine. We can do that. So it's like, let's come together. Let's come together and make a plan and make a, you know, we can concede. We have concessions. This is what it's all about. This is about teamwork. This is a partnership. This is not a dictatorship. It's not a monarchy. It's not me and my way and you are just the worker. You know, I love all of you and I love that he is expressing himself on YouTube. I love that he has his own place to go for people. However, he's a very influenced person. And when he hears things that might trigger a thought in his head, and now you can only see things that way, that's kind of like how he is. So when people are like, she's only trying to control that you because you don't like me, well, you've implanted that in his head now that he's looking every way like that I'm trying to control him. So it's kind of like, well, when we talk about it and then we realize, you know, like I'm not, you know, I don't know why Like, I've just tried to let him be himself. I think we can even go back as far as like when he wanted to start the Nordic diet. And I know I've said this story before, so I'm sorry if I repeat. But when he started the Nordic diet, he came to me and he was like, I'm really excited about this. I was like, oh, what do you got? And he was like, I said, just share me one recipe. And he happened to share a recipe that had potatoes in it. And I can't eat potatoes. Since I've been a type 2 diabetic, white potatoes are like my potato chips, mashed potatoes, French fries, potatoes, white potatoes, period. Whatever form, my blood sugar is going to go way through the roof. It's really great for an Irish woman, yeah, for sure. But I said to him, I was like, oh, I was like, oh, it sounds really good. I'm like, I will tell you that I probably have to substitute the potatoes, and I don't know about the honey, but we'll have to try it. And he was like, oh, you're so negative about everything. And I'm like, what? I was like, he had taken my story of what I'd said to his channel, and then in the comments, people are like, she's just like fat and doesn't care and doesn't want to eat health, like all this stuff. And they fed his head with all of this information that was totally 100% nonsense. Because since I've met my husband, I've been trying to get him to eat healthier. So the Nordic diet happens to be a really healthy diet. Now, it's not healthy for diabetics, but it's healthy in nutrition and value for people who aren't diabetic. You know, it's a really good balance, but I cannot eat a balanced diet. My diet has to be really protein rich, carb low. That's my diet, has to be that way right now. My body cannot process carbohydrates the way everybody else's body can process carbohydrate, or any non-diabetic's body. So this is like, you know, I'm like, I'm not being negative. So he's like, when I had gone to Texas and they had this whole big meeting, and everything that him and I had talked about, and things that he would do that he didn't do, and things that he would discuss he didn't discuss, and his mom just like thought that the place was a disaster and all this stuff. And I was like, well, where were you? And he was like, well, I agree with her. I was like, you agree with her, but what about all the stuff we talked about? Did you take on any responsibility for yourself? He's like, no, because it's all your stuff. I was like, yeah, but it's our stuff. And we agreed that you would take care of it because I was leaving so impromptuly. And then stuff we were going to keep out for Halloween when I came back. Like, so it was a lot of stuff, like, again, that empathy of being in the moment with the person in the room. Excuse me. So that all being said, I said to him last night, I was like, I'm not trying to be negative, and I'm not saying it's from the cancer, but losing my brother last year made me realize that at any time, this could be our last Halloween together. Not just if I go, God forbid, you know, this could be our last Halloween together. Realistically, it's closer and closer every year. You know, like statistically, I should say, closer and closer every year to being our last Halloween together. And I was like, I want it to be special for you. If this is our last Halloween together, I want it to be special for you. I said, do you think you'll decorate for every holiday when I'm gone? Because it reminds you of me, like you do Christmas. You get really into Christmas because you're dad. Will you get into all the holidays because of me? And he's like, I don't know. It seems like I might, but I don't know. So we did talk about it. And again, it's really hard for me to talk about talking to Jim about it because he doesn't know how to process it. He's checked out. So many conversations, you could just see that he's checked out. So I try to really talk to him the way that he needs to hear words. Like, he needs to hear it like this. And why am I saying this now? Why this particular moment? What is the point I'm trying to make? It's not just about, hey, you have to come to terms with this is the way it is. What will happen? Let's get you prepared for what will happen in case. I mean, that's really how I have to approach everything. We talk about the financials, you know, what will happen in case. Here's the insurance policies, just in case. Here is the bank account information, just in case. You know, like all of these things that just have to prepare you. And we can't do it all at once, obviously, but we have to just start. It's time to start. it should be a conversation that we've been having forever. Because like once I turned 50, probably would be a good idea. Actually, to be honest with my family history, I probably should have started this at 45. But just something, oh, sorry, I just poked my port and it hurts because it's black and blue. Ayah, 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 ayah. Let me just do this for a little bit. But anyway, so this probably is a conversation we should have started way back. But, you know, Jim just has never really had, no, he's not had interest in, he's had an aversion to it. He'd be like, just you do it, I can't, I just can't, you do it. But of course, you know, obviously it's going to come, it could come to a place in our lives where he has to do it. So it's not something you can avoid anymore. So we discussed a bunch of stuff. We did discuss a bunch of stuff. Now, there was a moment yesterday I was like, yes, let's just sell everything and just buy an RV and just get the heck out of Dodge. And he's like, yeah, you won't be here for your treatment. That's not a good idea. Which was the greatest thing I think my husband could have told me. The greatest thing he could have told me. It made me think of not only the first time that I heard him be presented with a tough situation and want to run away, but he wants to fight. So now I know he's in it with me. He may seem checked out at times, but he's in it with me. And that's really what matters. The little stuff doesn't matter. He's got my back. I love him so much. I have to fight because I have to wait to be with him till his hair is totally gray. It's not salt and pepper enough for me right now. I have to be with him long enough that he has a job where he can grow his beard out. Because I miss that beard. I miss that big old Viking beard and that big old long hair. You just put in ponytails and braid and all those things. I miss that. I know it's crazy, right? A lot of people didn't like it, but I loved it. I loved it. Anyhow. No more tears. No more tears. So I am trying to make everything easier for Jim as we get older. That was the plan, always. You know, it was different with my parents because they had kids that could do all the heavy lifting. And I mean that literally and physically, figuratively and literally. But that's not the case for us. We don't have kids that can do the heavy lifting. And now, with a cancer diagnosis, I probably will never be able to foster or adopt. Unless things change. Unless I am that miracle child. And I could be. I mean, there's a possibility. My disease has not progressed normally. I could be one of those 8%, like I mentioned yesterday. You know, that 8% of people who survive for a long time because it's not gone to places that it's gone to. They can zap all the small places with radiation. My chemotherapy and my immunotherapy could work on the inside to kick it from the inside out, and we'll see. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. God knows. Heaven only knows. So we'll see. We're going to do everything we can. I'm taking all the steps I can to fight. To be in it for the long haul. My dreams are for the long haul. As I sit and I ponder all the things around me, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, if I knew that I was checking out in 2 years, I would just totally be like, let's get the 2 years on the road because there's things I have to do and see. And time goes by. But that's not the case. The case isn't, nobody knows, and every day is a fight. I did say to my sister, I don't want to spend the next 10 years just sitting in this room, because that's not living. I want to get out there and I want to live. And I protect myself. I'll wear my mask. I'll take my therapies. I'll do everything I can do. I'll wash myself. I'll stay away from crowded people. I'll hand out masks so people can wear their masks too. Whatever I have to do, I'll do. It's fine. I have no problems. So that's it. That's it. I feel really good. I do. I feel really, really good. I want to be here for a very long time. I want to teach you everything that I know before I go. And there's a lot of stuff to teach you. So I love you guys. I've said it before. I said it again. If nobody has told you that I love you, if you're a child of Christ or not, that you know that God loves you, whichever God you worship. And Jesus loves you no matter what. I know some people think that Jesus' love is conditional for loving him back, but it's not. That's not what we were taught. He loves you no matter what, whether you like it or not. And I love you whether you like it or not. Just saying. I'm just saying. But listen, as always, you guys take care. God bless. We'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.